Okay, well, this is the first podcast that we're doing for the Northern Mariana Islands Tennis Association. And we have here today our Colin Sinclair, who last year won 4 medals in the Pacific Games and is playing professional tennis, except not during COVID-19. He's out of work just like a lot of the rest of us. So, Colin, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. What an introduction.
So, Colin, a lot of people probably don't know that you grew up right next door to me, and your dad was my best friend, and we played in, a lot of games together ourselves. And that you're about the same age as my son. You guys grew up together, but maybe, you could start off by telling us what you remember about growing up on Saipan.
Sure. Yeah. We were just down the street. It's funny, we had those 4 houses kind of interconnected in the neighborhood. So I left Saipan when I was about 9 years old. And then we came back every summer for a couple years after that. But just thinking back, I think the best memories were hanging around PIC with my 2 older brothers and younger sister.
Oh, a lot of good times down there playing in the water park.
Oh, yeah. We had the shark pool and the crab pool.
Yeah.
I remember we just used to annoy the crap out of all the tourists that used to come, and we'd be jumping on them in the slides and just running around the lazy river, and that was I'd say PIC.
A lot of good times at PIC.
And the Hyatt, yeah.
Do you still have any trophies? Now when you left Saipan, we had a 10 and under division, and you were ruling it, followed by Little Joe Motto and Rafi Jones. So they were, you guys were like 1, 2, 3, and they're always trying to catch up to you. I don't know if you remember those guys.
We could have been the only players on Saipan for that division.
Little Joe, and not so little anymore. He lives in Seattle and recently graduated from the University of Washington. And Rafi is living in Boise, Idaho, where my son Cody lives. Do you still have any trophies from those early days on Saipan, those early years?
I think we do. I think we might have. I don't know if we have any of the Coconut Classic ones.
Oh, those are great ones.
Yeah. But yeah, I bet we have a whole bunch there.
Those are things that like parents save that you might not be aware of, but they might have some from a few of those old tournaments. What motivated you to first get into tennis? You started taking lessons when you were about probably 5 years old, but and I was coaching you at the Hyatt in Saipan. But what motivated you to get into tennis?
Yeah, I would say, well, obviously Dad.
Yeah.
Dad and you playing, and then he always wanted me and my brothers to play. I think he always wanted to have some tennis players in the family. He played himself at college, as you know. He played at North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I think we were always kind of destined to play, and I always wanted to beat my older brothers.
I remember when. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
We had that little I forget what they called, but it was a stick with a tennis ball and a string that try and bash, and you try to wrap it around the pole.
Yep, like a tether ball.
Exactly. A person on the other side trying to do the same thing to you.
I remember when your oldest brother Mitchell was born, and your dad asked me like, "What should I do? What should I do?" And he's in his crib, and your dad has hung a ping pong ball on a string from the ceiling and put a ping pong racket in his hand when he's a baby.
Yeah, so I think it was always destined.
It was always destined to have at least one of you guys do something in tennis. Well, let me ask you, when you were 9 or 10, your family moved to Australia. And when you got there, what did you think about like the level of tennis you encountered there?
Uh,
You weren't the top dog anymore.
well, exactly, yeah. Going from the big fish to
Yeah.
to the little fish. I remember going to my first tournament and losing in the first round,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure I cried my eyes out. Yeah, just when I was doing so well in Saipan, and I think by that time I was beating my older brothers. So yeah, I didn't really know how to lose too well. So,
Yeah.
so
I'll
it
bet you
took me quite a few tournaments and then I learned
you've done a
pretty
lot
quick.
of you've done a lot of winning here on Saipan, and Australia is a whole nother thing. So
Definitely.
you tell us a little bit about maybe about how things went when you got to Australia and getting coaching and playing in for the school that you went to and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I worked with this coach called Ian Malpass, and worked with him right through grade 4 until I finished high school. And great coach, great guy. Yeah, I remember he put me my very first lesson. We got there. It was all the boys, and he put us with one of the other coaches. He had quite a few coaches there in his little school squads.
Now, were you
And
were you having that school squad training at Churchy?
at Churchy, yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, yeah, yeah, at our old high school. And yeah, just we really liked him, and I think Dad chose Churchy a little bit, obviously because of the tennis courts and how many there were around.
Okay.
But it's just good to have such a good coach after you that we kind of liked so much, and we stuck with for the rest of my time in Brisbane. So
Great. Now,
and
I know that you were playing all those Australian tournaments and you weren't playing many ITF events when you were like getting into your middle teenage years, but towards the end of your junior career, you did play some ITF events. How'd you do in those?
yeah, I played a couple, just locally around Brisbane. I can't. I
That's got
can't.
to be some of the toughest ITF junior competition around
Yeah,
there in Brisbane.
I practiced Saipan and played
Yeah, right.
played that one. But yeah, I really didn't do that well in the juniors. I in those junior ITF tournaments, I think I struggled. Maybe lost first or second round in all the ones I played. Um, but it was fun. It was always fun playing tournaments in Australia. Like you'd go around, you travel around, and I mean, it was a good little group that we had, and at that level, and even though I wasn't winning so much, I was still really enjoying tennis. So that was
You were, I was following you at that point, and you were winning. You were winning. I think you're being a little humble.
yeah,
You were doing pretty well in tournaments, and that's a really high standard there. And a lot of the best players from Australia coming out of that area of Australia. Um, so, how did you decide to attend and play tennis at Cornell University?
that one I just got really lucky. Got it.
Uh-huh.
I kind of fell into that. I got connected with an agent or a former coach that kind of was helping players from Australia get in touch with college coaches, and I was talking to Dartmouth or Fresno State, and those were kind of my two options. And really wanted to go to Dartmouth. Had it lined up in a sense, and then another player kind of came in. He was much better than me, and my spot became his spot, which
Okay.
is very understandable. The coach had to go with the better player, and he was originally going to Cornell.
Oh,
So him swapping, I hadn't talked to Silvio, the Cornell coach, at all, and Silvio had a free spot, and we talked once, and he kind of took a chance and was like, well, we have the free spot, I don't really know you, but we have it. If you want it, you can come.
Yeah, I remember you're talking to your dad about it that time, and I think he had talked to the coach, and he was like, well, we don't know if Colin's ever going to play in the top 6 for us, but you know, you ended up being a really solid player at Cornell, yes?
Yeah, it was funny. He really didn't know anything about me. And one of the first practices that I got there, he had me play a junior who had been playing about 4 or 5 in the lineup for the last 2 years. And he hadn't seen me play before. I think I played him in a set, and I beat him in that set. And I walked off the court, and he's like, okay, you can be on the team. Like, this might work. And I didn't realize before that how in jeopardy my spot on the team was. I thought I was a member, but it was good. It was good to have that match to show him what I could do.
Nice. That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, maybe you could share with somebody who might be listening to this, how do you feel about your collegiate career in general, and just playing college sports? What do you have to tell other young juniors who might be interested in doing that?
Yeah. Tell them to do it.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's such a good experience. 4 years, you get an education, you get to train, you get to be a part of a team, which in tennis you don't get to do very often. And yeah, a couple of the best years of my life there, I'd say. I'd say my first year I really struggled going from going to a new environment, 14-hour time difference from my parents, a long way away from what I knew. But it's something I think that everyone should do. Good to get away, and good to kind of learn a lot about yourself.
As you have learned, you know, being around me a bit, that's really what we're pushing here in Saipan. And
Right.
you know, 4 of your teammates from the Pacific Games last year are graduating this year, and all of them want to play college tennis. It's their goal. Malika, Carol, Robbie, and Ken. And Isabel was already playing college tennis, and she'll be moving schools to Texas to continue her collegiate career. Okay, so you know, most players finish their collegiate careers and they move on. Why did you decide to give the pros a shot?
It's a good question. I think a lot of my teammates were asking me the same thing.
Really? Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's not easy, you know, even you know, a lot of players who finish like in the top of the NCAA ranks, they don't give it a shot because they don't think they could make it. But you went out and decided to give it a shot.
A lot of people were questioning it. Especially like you said, we weren't the top school, and I wasn't even playing number 1 for my team. So, but I just didn't feel like I was done with tennis yet.
Did you feel like you had more improvement to put in?
I felt like I had a little bit more to grow. Even just maturity wise, I feel like I didn't really fully develop everything, my whole body, until I was older.
How much, you know, I'll tell you something. In my many years of coaching, like since the dinosaurs roamed the earth here, I feel like a lot of kids are, you know, finishing their junior careers, and then they're like, well, I've gotten as good as I can get.
Right.
You know, I've maxed out. I've peaked, and I'm telling them, you have no idea what your peak is. How much do you think that you improved between the time that you started college and the time that you finished college?
Oh, it's hard to, just so much.
It's so much that it's hard to quantify, right?
At 17, I think I was I'd grown a bit, but I was just skinny. Well, I'm still extremely skinny now, but I really hadn't matured at all. I think at 16, I was like 5'6".
Oh,
I
wow.
was, yeah, I was small. And I mean, just those 4 years at college, it really gives you time to get into a proper like strength and conditioning program. I don't know too many high schoolers, especially tennis players, that do any sort of work on their body
Right.
and try and develop like that. But yeah, it's just, and then you spend 3-4 hours a day on court working on this one thing. So yeah, there's no way, an 18, yeah, you're going to be the same player at 22 that you were at 18.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's good for young players to know. Um, so you started joining ITF uh, uh, $15,000 futures events, which is the lowest rung of professional tennis.
Hmm.
And you were like, how were you doing in the beginning? Were you winning or were you mostly
Oh,
losing?
I was mostly losing again. It was back to Australia, going my first time to Australia. It
Okay.
Yeah, I played my summer straight out of college, went straight into playing futures in uh in New York State, and then I played a couple there. I qualified, but losing first round, and
Yeah.
as you know, that means you get 0 points, zero
Yeah.
money. It's
Zero confidence.
zero confidence. Yeah, it's not the most glamorous lifestyle, that's for sure, and you can get pretty down on yourself. But I then
Then
went to Belgium with a
then you went
buddy.
to Europe. Yeah. And what
With a
happened there?
uh, I managed to get my first point. I qualified and then won my first round, which gave me my first ATP point and gave me my first. It'll give me my first ranking, which was huge because before that, without a ranking, you're just entering tournaments and hoping that you're getting in. Not enough people sign up, but
Right.
with a ranking, you'll usually get in, so you can kind of build your schedule and know that you'll actually get into the tournaments in the first place. Uh,
So there were when you like at the end of your first period of playing in Europe, you were like from August 2018, I think. You
yeah,
played. You started off in Europe, and then you played a tournament maybe in Africa.
um, I think that was a year after I
Oh,
had.
okay. And but
Yeah,
then
but
in 2018 from August to October, you reached 5 consecutive pro finals in Europe and Australia.
yeah.
Um, what did you think as you got, as you went through that run? And I mean, that's a pretty amazing run that you had there.
Yeah, thank you. I think the confidence. Yeah, I've been trying to recreate that for the past years. So that's a good question. But I'd say just the confidence kind of kept growing tournament after tournament. Like the first final that I made, I had never even been to a semifinal before that tournament, and then I got to my first final, and then the next week I was like, well, just being there, it's kind of like, well, I can do this now. And a lot of
Yeah,
tennis is just believing you're better than the other guy,
right.
right?
Yep.
It's everyone hits the ball pretty similar. Everyone can hit the ball well. It's just
There are no bad players out there in those futures events.
really just believing that you can, especially in the big moments, believing and trusting that you have it.
Yeah.
And it kept building. Um, I got lucky with a couple good draws, but I guess when you're playing well, you don't really care about the draws too much. You keep winning, and it just feeds into itself. So I think I went 2 in Belgium, and then 1 in Africa, and then 2 in Australia.
All right. So then, several months after that, in early 2019, you were in California and you won your first pro title in singles. How did that go?
That was I think it wasn't even, I didn't even enjoy it. It
Really?
was more, it was just a relief,
Oh, okay.
right?
Like
I had the
you had lost
5,
5 finals before, and
yeah,
you're like, man, I've got this monkey on my back. I make it to the finals, but I can't win, huh?
exactly. I think I won that one 6-3, 7-6. And in that second set, I served for it at 5-4,
A little tense
6-5,
at the end.
5. Yeah, my arm, I don't think my arm moved faster than 20 miles per hour. But then I got the tie break, and yeah, I don't know if it even felt good. It was just relief.
Okay. Well, I hope you can look back on it and enjoy it a little more as you go through. Uh,
It rained the whole that day. It rained the whole Sunday, so we got rained out there. So we had to end up playing it on a Monday.
right. You had to play on Monday.
Yeah, there
No,
was
no crowd then to watch either, huh?
oh no, yeah. At the
There's
5 previous
10 people
finals,
there.
oh less. Because at the five previous, there had been a bit of a crowd. There had been people watching. We had the ceremony afterwards. They were giving speeches, and then this one on the Monday, my host family watched.
So it's a
And
little bit anticlimactic, huh?
yeah, the refs, and the ball kids.
Uh,
Yeah,
Sounds like some of our early Davis Cup Group 2 ties in Fiji. And so what have you learned from your pro career the last couple of years that you can offer to like young players or recreational players?
to young players, I would just say what we've been talking about, like just to stick with it, right?
Persistence.
Persistence, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you love it, and you're definitely, 18 is not the make or break year for your
Mm.
tennis career. If you're not getting the results at 18, I don't recommend you go pro, but definitely try and make college work for you. You can definitely there's definitely still time.
Um, we talked briefly before about this, but, traveling by yourself around the world, you've played in Africa, Asia, Australia, US, Europe, and when you're by yourself and you're traveling around the world for these tournaments, how do you pick yourself up or deal with losses?
Losses, yeah.
I know that's tough.
Usually a quick phone call to dad after, because I generally know he's following along, either watching the live stream if there is, or the live scores. So yeah, usually a quick call to him to explain my feelings of frustration. Yeah, he couldn't be better at navigating my emotional swings.
Well,
I think
he's such a positive guy. He's
is.
one of the most positive people I've ever met, and my
I
best
could have played,
friend for many years, and
I
still
could have played
is.
the worst match I've ever played, and he'll still have some positive words for me. So that's usually my go-to, and then
Chris. Hold on just a sec. Chris. I'm in the middle of my podcast with Colin. I got to call you back. There, that's Chris.
Nelson.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I usually go to dad and then take the rest of the day off, maybe the next day, and then getting back into it.
All right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit. For the first time last year in 2019, well, you'd been playing Davis Cup for Pacific Oceania for a couple of years, but then I asked you to come and play for the Northern Mariana Islands in the Pacific Games in Samoa in July 2019, and thankfully you put your pro career on hold for a month or so there and came and joined us. The only player on the team you had met at that time was Carol Lee. You met her when she played in the Australian Open in 2019.
Yeah.
What was your impression of this young team, this young group of players that you met? You know, you were the old man on the team, and everybody was looking to you for some leadership and whatnot. What was your impression of that whole thing showing up?
Weird feeling being the oldest by that much.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for sure. Yeah, with Davis Cup, I've been the youngest, but it was good. I mean, it's such a great group. Like you said, I met Carol for about 5 minutes after I watched her Australian Open match, and yeah, just it was a really fun 2 weeks, wasn't
All
it?
right.
And thank God it happened last year, not this year.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But
Um,
yeah,
it was such a fun 2 weeks. My gosh, we had such a great time. Um, so what were, obviously you won the gold medal in the team event with Robbie and Shore and Ken Song. You won the gold medal in the mixed doubles with Carol, and probably the most thrilling match that our team played. You won the singles gold medal against a tough player from Papua New Guinea, and you and Robbie narrowly lost the gold medal, won the silver medal in the men's doubles,
so
6-4, 6-4, having lost like 8 straight no-ad points. But
still.
that's a unbelievable accomplishment. But what for you personally, what were the big moments for you in Samoa?
Uh, the big moments, yeah.
What really, like, you just like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this,
Um, great question. I honestly, I was really surprised we won the team event. Coming in just the first week, I didn't know coming in how good Robbie was going to be.
Mm.
And I knew he was a younger guy, and obviously you'd talked him up, and I believe that I just wasn't sure how he'd fare against the
Well,
older players,
he was
like
only
the
17 years old, playing against a lot of older, more experienced players.
PNG guy is about what?
Yeah, he's in his
Mark,
40s. Yeah.
Mark is a veteran. Mark is
Oh yeah. In fact,
a
I won my last match in the Pacific Games against him
yeah.
in doubles. Yeah. And that was in
Uh,
2005. That was in 2005, 14 years before that. But like I know that you've said that it was so thrilling to win that mixed doubles match with Carol, because you guys eked out that super tiebreaker at the end where you were trailing.
Right, and that was the end of a pretty long day where I think we'd played two of the finals before that.
Yeah.
Robbie and I went down in that doubles, which was a tough, but that Tongan team played well. And it was just the end of a long 2 weeks of playing, and I think my nerves were getting a little rattled.
It was a
frustrated.
tough 2 weeks, buddy. You played 2, 3, or 4 matches every day that we were there for 2 weeks without a break. And I think only one day you played one match. Every other day you were playing multiple matches.
Yeah, but I can't remember the first 2 sets, the score lines even. But I just remember the super tiebreak. Carol stepped up, and she had a couple awesome points. I think she ripped a down the line winner at about 6-all or 7-all. It was really tight, and I think that completely won us the match.
She volleyed beautifully and aggressively in that tiebreaker too. And I remember telling her before that match started, because the day before you guys had played Cook Islands, and she ended up not being as aggressive as I wanted her to be at the net. I just told her, I said, no matter how many volleys you miss, you just got to keep your nose right hanging over that net and be aggressive. And in the crunch time, she did, and I was so proud of her.
Yeah, she was fearless. She really won us that doubles. She was yeah.
Well, you guys brought home a gold medal for one of the women on our team, and I think that's an outstanding accomplishment. Let's see Then you were voted as the athlete of the year in the NMI.
How
And,
awesome is that? That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
you played your video at the awards ceremony there. So as we now you've been sidelined, as the whole tennis world has been sidelined, the whole world in general has been sidelined by this COVID-19 period.
Yeah.
What are you doing to how's that been? What are you doing to prepare for? I think the ITF is planning to restart things maybe after July, maybe in the
Yeah.
beginning of August. What are you doing to
Mm.
prepare now?
Well, the first couple months, I kind of just had a reset. I didn't do too much, to be honest.
Okay, it's like break time.
I think I needed that. I really needed that. I've been playing pretty consistently for the last 2 years, 3 years without much of a break. So it was good to be in one spot. I'm up here in Toronto with my aunt and some extended relatives, and it was just good to kind of have a relaxing period.
You're with Aunt Melanie.
Aunt Melanie, yeah.
Yeah.
So staying in my grandpa's house, and yeah, just really good to reset. And the last month or so, I've been getting back on court with one of my former teammates from Cornell. He lives up here, and he's been playing pro the last year. So I've been training with him. It's been funny with trying to get courts. With all the courts down, we've been playing a lot with no net.
Oh yeah.
Sneaking on, but now the courts are all up. We're playing out at Tennis Canada with a couple other Canadian guys. So it's been a good little training block.
Oh, good. There's one of the Canadian coaches up there that influenced me a lot. I don't know if he's still coaching up there. Louis Caillet.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard that guy, but he's like a legend in Tennis Canada.
Okay.
So just a couple more things that I wanted to ask you here, just in general. Like I think a lot of tennis players have their favorite players. I have my favorite player. Who's your favorite player? Do you have a favorite player?
I do. I would say Djokovic.
Djokovic. Okay, I knew you were gonna pick a guy who's more of a baseliner.
Oh yeah. He doesn't seem to be liked as much as the other two top guys, but I just really respect his game. Yeah, he's just so tough from the baseline, and I think he's gonna get the most Grand Slams. I think he'll go down as the best player ever.
Well, I'm gonna keep rooting for Federer. Okay.
I think you and everyone else. I don't think Djokovic should have too many people in his corner.
Let me ask you this. Maybe we've sort of given some of the answers to this question, but I just wanted to, give you a chance to maybe give out a shout out to some people. Who are some of the people in your life that you feel have been most instrumental to your success in tennis?
In tennis? Well, first you. Obviously, you got me into it, right? Yeah.
I remember I sent you that video of you that I had taken of you when you were maybe 8 years old serving, and God, it was you had a really awesome serve at 8 years old.
I don't think my techniques changed too much from that. It still looks pretty similar. So yeah, you and my dad for getting me into it and get me on the right path. And then Ian Malpass at my old high school, and Silviu Tenisoiu at my at Cornell. So those have kind of been the four big coaching people that I've had. Not that my dad's coached me too much, but he's been a constant.
Oh yeah, well, that the psychological side is an important part of coaching and picking you up after those losses and whatnot. So you don't want to forget about that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So I'm gonna go see Silviu next week. I'm gonna go head down to Cornell, and I think I'll spend the next 2 months there before trying to play again.
So you think that you're probably gonna start playing in like September or something again?
I think so. Yeah, it's really hard to say. One of the Tennis Canada coaches today thinks that the U.S. Open will go ahead apparently they had a meeting about it today, and there's going to be some pretty restrictive rules. You're only allowed to bring one coach.
Right, I heard that.
And some other things, but he thinks it'll go ahead. So if the U.S. Open's going to go ahead, I think everything else will probably follow suit. I don't know. It's so hard to predict.
Yeah.
Who really?
You know, that sounds like a good timeline. Gives you some time to get ready and then be ready to hit the trail again.
Mm-hmm.
I just in your career, I just wonder if you have like, is there a best match that you think you've ever played?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, tennis-wise, it was my best playing, but my very first tournament that I made that final, and it was the semifinal match, and I won it 7-6 in the third.
Oh.
And I think that one was just everything that kind of came together, and it was tight. I think it was 8-6 in the tie break, and
that was on clay in Belgium.
I lost the first set really easily, 6-1. The guy came out ripping winners, and I was able to just kind of hold steady, kind of keep it close in the second set, and really work my way back to the match. So that's probably I don't know if it was my best tennis, but definitely my proudest match.
That's you know, something to look back on when you have a loss and you say, okay, that's, you know, I got to think about something positive here. Do you have, you know, like somebody who's been playing as much tennis as you? I know, is there a close match that you've lost that you really like wish that you'd won?
Oh, it's easy. Yeah, the doubles in Samoa.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that one hurt.
Like as much as some of those you know, early finals that you lost.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's now that I've had time to think about it. At the time, it didn't really I didn't think about it too much, so it didn't feel that bad. But looking back, it would have been good to have all four.
That would have been good, but
that was probably one of the ones I thought we were going to have.
Let me tell you,
I was confident.
I rode the high of winning those 4 medals as coach of the team. I rode that high for several months. And you know, having coached a lot of teams at the Pacific Games, Micronesia Games, where we do very well in the Micronesia Games, but you know, to get up there in the Pacific Games and have them play our anthem from the NMI and watch them raise the flag standing up there with you guys, I gotta admit there was some tears coming to my eyes there, man.
Oh yeah, that was pretty special.
Yeah. Well, you know, I really appreciate you taking the time to get ready to sit down with me for this.
Of course, and, yeah. Fit it into my
it's I wish you all the best of luck in your preparation to get back to what you love doing, and good luck. I'll be staying in touch with you, but you know, good luck in when you get started in September.
Thanks, Coach Jeff.
Okay.
Always good to talk.
Love you, man.
Love you too. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.